that down, let's move on to our next topic here, shall we? Paris, what we got up next?
Well, despite having a 77% audience rating, Marvel's The Eternals was the first MCU film to suffer a rotten critic score of just 47%. It made just over $400 million at the box office, which is good for some movies, but very low by Marvel standards. Now, nearly 3 years after its initial release, Kevin Feige says there are currently no plans to bring a sequel to the big screen. So, John, when do you think we'll eventually get an Eternals 2?
I do think that eventually we'll get an Eternals 2, but I'm not sure about that. And even if we do, it's going to be a while. Like, I think we'll see characters from the Eternals pop up in the MCU. I definitely think we're going to have that. But an actual proper Eternals 2, I'm not so sure, because like Paris said, it was the first MCU movie that got a below 50% critic rating. I personally really like the film. It's not a top 10 MCU movie to me, but the more I see it, the more I actually appreciate it. I actually quite like the film. I thought it was very, very unique and very, very different for an MCU film. Again, not a top 10 or anything like that. I certainly think they've put out worse stuff since. But the big killing thing to it is it's barely made over Black Adam. I mean, it made just a hair over $400 million, which a lot of movies would kill to make, but by MCU standards, that's not great. And with them having so many properties and so many characters, especially now with Fantastic Four and Deadpool and all the X-Men characters coming in, I don't know that there's room for an Eternals 2, per se. Now, for those of you wondering, what did Kevin Feige specifically say? This comes to us from Superhero Hype, who wrote the following, quoting Kevin Feige, who said this: "There are no immediate plans for Eternals 2. Now granted, that's not him saying we're never going to do one, but it's kind of the way a producer says we might never do one. He says, there are no immediate plans for Eternals 2, he said. There are, and I think you've seen maybe in a trailer we've released recently, an acknowledgement of some of those events. Certain giant things came out of the ocean." So that pretty much 100% confirms what we all suspected, that the big rock structures coming out of the ocean in that Captain America 4 is in fact Tiamat the Celestial, that Cersei turned into some sort of stone, and that the nations of the world seem to be fighting around. So that's cool to see. So look, again, I think at the end of the day, we are going to see members of the Eternals again. I think we're going to see Cersei again. I think we are going to see the Black Knight at some point. I think we might see one or two of the other characters as well. I think Arishem the Judge and other Celestials may come back into play here. But as far as an Eternals 2, to me, for now, I'm going to take this as don't hold your breath. Yeah.
I mean, I like the Eternals just like you, John. I think the problem with the Eternals for me was they didn't make, the characters themselves didn't make an impact. Where like there's certain characters I'll watch a movie, I'll be like, I gotta see them again. I gotta see that. I need to know more about this character, right? And that didn't work for any of the characters for me in the Eternals. I did like the movie. It's just the lasting impact of on the MCU just didn't do anything for me.
They did for me. I actually really liked the characters a lot.
Yeah.
I enjoyed them a lot. Again, a very different film, which I think Marvel needed. They needed a film that was, well, most of their films are unique from each other. They need something that really broke away from the Marvel basic structure.
And that they did.
Yeah, and I think they did that, and I thought that really worked well. But again, not their best film, and certainly not their most successful. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Miracle Made. Guys, it's hot outside, and your nighttime bedroom temperature has a huge impact on your sleep quality. So if you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA and use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. There are just so many things that make these sheets so fantastic. We already mentioned the self-cooling properties for better quality sleep, but they're also self-cleaning. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. So go to trymiracle.com/Campea. That's TRYMIRACLE.com/Campea to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code Campea at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Campea and use the code Campea to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Campea to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Are you surprised that Kevin Feige is basically saying, yeah, we have no plans to do any more, at least immediately, more Eternals? Do you think that's the right move? Do you agree with me that we think we're still going to see some of those characters pop up around the MCU? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.